You're on.
Back on. All right, next item, the grant agreements. Reason possibly to discuss these in closed?
I didn't catch what you said. This is Renee. I'll be doing the initial presentation on these.
On the grants, okay. Go ahead, Renee. We'll just keep it open until unless people want to go to close.
I'm going to recommend that we have closed at the end of the discussion of this. You'll see.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
So these are continuation, kind of going back and evaluating these grant agreements that were submitted to either Reclamation or the Water Development Board that y'all have not yet been brought back to y'all for approval as in the initial resolution, provided the initial resolution. So these three are all Water Development Board grant applications and grants. All of them are cost sharing, where y'all get a percent. Y'all have to put in a percentage of the amount covered, and then they cover the other part. All three are really hardly anything's been done on any of the three that are mentioned here. But what I'd like to do, I want to start off just discussing 18A and then 18C, and then after that, I'll talk briefly about 18B. So I'll turn to 18A first. That's for project grant, Water Development Board for concrete lining as part of the Franklin Canal project. And let me just make sure I've got my notes here. Yeah, it's for about a total of about $1.1 million cost. The Water Development Board share is basically about 16%, a little over 16%, whatever the cost may turn out to be. And so that means that the district has to bear the load for about 84% of the cost of the project. It was signed by the district general manager back in July 26, 2019. The board had approved it in a resolution dated January 16, 2019. It said that gave the general manager authority to negotiate the agreement, and then it was supposed to be approved by the district's board after it's negotiated. It's been approved, as I said, by the Water Development Board. The Water Development Board has not put any money into the project at this point. We have not asked for any money from the Water Development Board at this point in the project. The records so far show that about a little over $5,000 of in-kind work has been done by the district, but there has not been a request for reimbursement for that work. $5,226 is the number I get. I've looked at the contract, and I don't see any legal impediments to or concerns about the board approving the contract. Nothing pops up. Nothing about any collateral matters we may have been concerned about in the past, running up till now. So I see nothing standing in the way for the board approval in legal terms. But this is unlike those projects, contracts we did last month, where either all the work or most of the work had already been done. These are the reclamation projects that y'all approved. In this one, there may be some things that operations or Al may have to say. I'm not sure Al wants to say anything about this, but anyway, that they may have to say that whether they recommend that you approve this project or this contract or not. But there's no legal impediment to it. And before we get to asking them about that, it's going to be a similar situation with regard to item 18C, so I'll quickly run through that. 18C is for the Riverside Canal Sediment Control Structure Project. It was for a total cost of about $407,000, and Water Development Board covered about 37% of that, so we cover about 63%. Signed by the District General Manager in July 27, 22, has been approved by the Water Development Board. Your board resolution is similar to the other ones we've discussed in this situation. That is, back in March 16th of 2022, you approved submission of the request and then said that it should be brought back to the board for approval. This is the first time it's come back to the board, just as 18A, same thing. I've looked at this one. I think there hasn't been any, if I remember right, on this one, let me double check. I think on this one, yeah, there's been nothing submitted to the Water Development Board on this, and we've been paid nothing by the Water Development Board, and actually we haven't put any work into it, it appears, from the records I've seen so far. Just like with 18A, I have no legal concerns that I've seen about whether that would interfere with the board approving this, nothing on any of the collateral matters we've been concerned about in the past. But again, I don't know operations views about whether they think you should approve it, given the situation is languishing for a little while. So for those two, that's the situation. I'd rather discuss 18B, I'm sorry, separately, because I'm basically going to recommend that we discuss it because there's some legal issues that need to be addressed in executive session. So maybe if you want to consider 18A and C now and ask operations about their views, if they have any, this might be the time to do that, and then come back to 18B.
Okay, well then, with that suggestion, I like that suggestion also. So administration, what do you guys think? Al and Jay? I'm asking Jay right now.
Yes, on 18A, this is the Franklin Feeder Canal. We started lining that a few years back, many years back actually. So we started the tail end and worked our way upstream. And we've covered about 8,500 linear feet.
Okay.
So there's a section lacking from the heading of the Franklin Feeder at Partidor to Socorro Road, which is the 5,500 linear feet. Approximately 40% of the canal is what we need, and everything else downstream from there is lined all the way to the Franklin Canal and the Salical heading. And myself, as far as this project and the benefits to the district, it's a great project. It's going to obviously involve some work on Pete's behalf on the shotcrete, but operational wise. So no, I mean, you guys speak to that on your thoughts.
On your thoughts,
on the Franklin Feeder and Franklin Feeder.
Robert, y'all.
Bruce.
Yeah.
Well, other than the, I believe what I read as far as the matching and everything else, I mean, that's the last little piece of the puzzle to complete that Franklin Feeder. So it'd be great to have it. Unfortunately, you know, it's the majority of the funds have to come from the district.
Right.
So other than that, I mean, I say it's a win-win.
That'd be the last of the feeder, right?
Yeah, the feeder will be completely done in time.
This is not overwhelming you guys or anything like that? Remember you said earlier that you had a lot of projects going?
It does, but you know, again, Larry, you know, if we're looking at 5,000 feet,
Right.
if we were to spread that out into 2 years, 3 years,
Right.
then it's something that's doable to where you don't overextend yourself.
Okay.
But if they're expected to be done within a year's time, then that's when
That's where the problem
the stress comes in and
And
so
yeah,
so
is. You got
forth.
2-3 years to do it?
that won't be the case. Yes, we had the discussion with Texas Water Development Board. As far as we were to, you know, move forward with it, if we could delay it this year and not consider it till next year, because we can take care of some other things, this non-irrigation season, and they were fine with it. So,
Okay.
but yeah, and then in multiple years, it was also an option, so that helps.
All right.
We formally have to request an extension.
Yes.
It's supposed to be completed by December of this year. We already had one extension because of COVID. But the verbal, our discussion with the contract officer said that she did not think that it was an issue, but we still have to go through the formality of getting it in writing.
Okay,
Which will,
well, that sounds like a good idea. Now, Jay, what about C? What is y'all's thoughts on C?
C, so this is the
The sediment,
sediment control facility structure, the Riverside Canal. This is a 37% Texas Water Development Board, 63% on the district. Total of $400,000, so it would be split 37, 63. With discussions, I guess we had discussions with operation maintenance, and yeah, it's, I won't say it's good and bad. I mean, it's great, because obviously we'll funnel all the sediment to one single location where we can construct this sediment facility. It's like a ramp down into the canal, and you know, we'll collect all the sediment there. The fact that this particular portion isn't lined yet, so it's got it. Where we're ending the lining right now, this is a further downstream by holding the water. So it'll generate obviously
what have been said?
a silt annually. So we'd have to, you know, as basically set aside a scheduled maintenance at the end of the irrigation season. But it would be at one location, and it will again generate significant silt and work. But I think at the end it'll benefit the system rather than having it flow all the way downstream. I mean, you know, we'll catch it at one location, but it will generate more work. So, guys,
What is y'all thought?
Does it generate less work overall?
More work.
More
Well,
work?
actually, I think actually it's,
It's a give and take one?
yeah, because you know, rather than the sand all accumulating throughout the canal, it'll be in one area.
One area. So
The only thing that I've got on that is that we're kind of putting the carriage before the horse. You know, let's get with the concrete where we're further down, closer to the area. Because right now, what is there, about maybe 5 miles, Jay, probably, or probably more, that's still dirt, it's still a dirt canal. So, right now, that sand is gonna spread out in that area.
we're at Ding, right? We're a little bit below Walcott right now.
Yeah, we're a little bit below Walcott, so
Walcott.
it's probably a good 5-7 miles.
Yeah, about 5-7 miles.
So what I'm saying is, yeah, it's a good thing to do, but I think right now, we should concentrate more on doing the riverside, getting closer to that area, than going in there and doing it now.
So this one has to go through a lengthy design environmental review. It's not that it's that big of a project, it's just that their Water Development Board is backlogged on those reviews, so we estimate, we don't estimate, it's not even scheduled for construction to start to 2025, and again, Water Development is open to extending that to 26 or 27 for construction. Our other projects, which we'll bring to you at future board, there's another one pending that'll come in front of the board, probably not till September, with reclamation to line the rest of the Riverside Canal, would key to this. But, you know, this isn't there's no solution to sediment other than removal. This basin will trap sediment. We're moving sediment continuously. Pete's right, we're accumulating lower end, but we pushed everything down from above, from all the way up from Riverside heading down into that lower. So it reaches, sediment never stops moving. It just, some places, the way this one works is we dig it very deep so that the water quiescence through there, and it'll drop out. As the sediment drops out, the velocity picks up because there's less area, and it starts moving sediment again. You know, Pete might be right that it may not, in the first year of use, be as effective as it would be once we get the canal lined all the way, but it will remove sediment, and I almost guarantee you it'll fill up, because we have so much sediment in our water that, and the idea behind this is it's a lot easier to get into this thing with a D8 cat and push it out, and with a front loader and move it, than it is to try to go in with an excavator down all our canals to remove it. So there's no solution to the sediment other than removal.
All right, and we
If we have
got,
enough water, we used to sluice it back to the river. Remember those days, Robert, when we used to sluice sediment?
I forgot them.
and,
Well, they're coming back, Reels.
and we got a few, well, we got a few more years. Does that change your thoughts on it, Pete or Robert?
What?
That you have a few more years, it looks like, before we really get into this.
That part there, Art, is still, it's accumulated sand already, it always plugs up.
Right, but
now.
what I mean is we have a few more years to maybe get that thing lined before we do this thing anyway. So does that change your outlook on the whole thing?
No.
Okay.
Well,
What about Pete?
No, I mean, like I said, I think it's a great idea. We do need it. I just don't think, you know, we might, I think we're gonna need it more in the future once we line the site than we do at this time. If that
We
makes
got
sense.
till 25 to do it, don't we?
So we,
Well, we get some money this time to help us.
yeah, we get some money, and there are some phases, like I mentioned, and Al mentioned, we received a letter at the end of April on another phase of Riverside. We're trying to get all the details, we haven't met with the Bureau on it, which is another section. Where that section is, it's phase 6, so I don't, you know, as far as where, I'm assuming they're continuous, we're still figuring it all out, but perhaps it'll be the continuation to where we need to be to this location. We're not sure. We'll come back with more details on that particular one.
Yeah, no, it is, that phase 6 is that section that's not lined right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna vote for or against this. I think, you know, obviously sediment, removal is important, and it's an annual thing. This just creates a mechanism. So we're gonna line the sides, but not the bottom on this, because we're gonna be excavating the bottom every year. But the idea is to create a pool of, a settling basin, and to where it'll preferably settle out in and will remove from that location.
Yeah, one location.
It's not a high priority is what I'm hearing from operations and maintenance, and that makes sense. We don't, on this particular one, we don't get to go back. It's too late to go back and change the scope of work. So either we accept it or we I don't know what, I guess the attorney would advise us how we reject it. Because we already signed up and accepted it once.
Can I say something?
The fact that you accept, if the board approves either of these or both of these, it doesn't obligate you to do the work. It might, if you want to ultimately do the work, you know, 2 years from now or whatever, you might have to ask for an extension of the term of the contract to perform, but it doesn't obligate you to do it right away. It's just a way to obligate them to commit to funding for this whenever you do.
Okay. Mike, what do you want to say?
I have,
Yeah, we could go to like, but like I said, right now in the contract that Mr. Reyes signed, construction work isn't scheduled to begin until 2025.
All right.
I'm pretty sure, we can check the contract right now, you got a copy, I think it's 2025.
It is.
And then we can have an extension if we need after that?
Yes.
I don't see a real problem, there's no problem with this sediment. Like Al says, it's a continuous maintenance thing, you're gonna have to do it anyways, and go figure, hey, we're gonna get some money out of it. It just doesn't mean that we're gonna do it tomorrow, it could be done in 2027. It's something that, and I like what you said, cart before the horse. Yeah, it'd be nice to have a perfect world and have it lined and everything and so forth, but that's not the case. So we got this grant, it's gonna be done in 2025, 2027. We're gonna get the sediment removed. I think it's a win-win for the district. And on a second note, we gotta pick our battles when it comes to these grants. So this is one of those grants that it's worth going after or pursuing or accepting it for whatever happened in the past. And then we can pick on bigger and harder grants that may come our way. So those are my 2 cents, but sediment's not gonna go away. You're gonna be doing it anyways, somewhere on the canal system, so.
Well, and actually the sediment control, it is a lot easier just to go to one location rather than go to the whole canal. So yeah, that makes sense. You know, it's just gonna make it a lot faster, a lot more efficient, and probably less cost.
And then we can plan for it, 2027, 2025, we project for it, we plan for it. You know, it's not like we're gonna, you know, be reacting to it. So Pete, guess what? If you're not retired by then, we got work to
He
do.
won't, he
He
won't.
won't be.
We're not gonna let you, but
Either one of them.
All that dirt you get on the canal banks, look at that, the extra dirt for the canal banks. Okay, I think, all right, well, I've listened to the discussion, Chair will entertain a motion on either one, or A or C, or AC together.
if it's okay, I would like to move as a recommendation by the board and our engineer that we approve A, can we approve both of them or just one of them? I'd like to,
Yeah, you
A
can
and C,
approve both. A and C,
as presented.
I second that.
all right. Mike made a motion, there's a second.
Yeah.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
We got till 2027 to do it. We're gonna be here to, if we
Yeah.
decide to.
And then you can always ask for discussion.
Extension.
All right, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and Renee will carry B into closed session. Let me see if we
Well,
got,
let me, before we go to the closed session, let me just give some opening remarks
Okay.
about it being in
okay,
open session.
all right.
Okay? Just to explain why we're going to closed session. So this is the Franklin Canal lining project phase 2, El Paso 2 section. It was executed by the general manager back in early October of 2020. It's for $600,000, 50-50 split between Water Development Board and the district. There hasn't been any request yet to the Water Development Board for reimbursement or for payment under any aspect of this. It looks like about $1,800 worth of in-kind work has been done by the district on this, very little, in other words. And just, if you're back in November 20th of 2019 is when you all passed the resolution authorizing submission of it to Water Development Board and then saying you need to approve it ultimately. I have not finished all of the actual, gathered all the factual information I need with respect to this. And what I've gathered so far, I have some technical legal issues that we need to discuss in closed session that will help us go forward from there or not, depending on what the board chooses to do. So that's the reason I'm recommending that we go into special session, because this is a proposed contract, and I need to give y'all legal advice with respect to that before we go any further.
Okay. All right, well, hearing that, let me look real quick. Any other items on our agenda? No. No. Okay. Then, I think we're going to move into closed session. Let the record show at 10:41. We are temporarily leaving open session to go to closed session at 10:41.